What's up? Welcome back, Recliner Sports Reporters, to another week's episode of Knockout Bets Podcast. This is Mac, and with me, as always, is Andrew. Andrew, how we doing, buddy?
Hey, we're great. No more COVID in the house, so we'll take that as a plus. And I have the day off from work for tomorrow, so
Nice.
good
That's
things.
awesome, man. That's good.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your day off?
Whole bunch of fun things like get an oil change for my car. It's overdue. Try to
Adulting.
not drive too much other than that because gas is like $5 a gallon here.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, is it not that bad yet by you?
Man, I haven't gotten gas in like 2 weeks, so I just
Well, you're
realized.
gonna be in for a surprise when you go to the pump.
Yeah, I just realized my tank's about to be at low anyway, so it's going to be wild. Gas prices, man.
Yeah, gas prices are crazy right now. So
Dang
yeah, go get
Illuminati.
the oil change and try not to drive too much other than that, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of stinks when you got an hour-long drive every day.
Well, yeah, that trip is pretty expensive these days, so I'm hoping
I'm
gas
lucky.
prices might go back down one of these
I'm
days.
lucky I live 5 minutes down the road from my work now, so
Yeah.
one benefit here. Well,
Yeah, I'm
awesome,
going
man.
almost 50 miles each direction, so it's
Gotta
not
love it.
fun these days.
Gotta love it, right? Dang,
There
bro.
are plenty of other people out there in the world dealing with the same thing, and it's not fun for any of us.
No, not at all. Well, again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the love and support. I'm not gonna lie, this past weekend, man, was a really, really big weekend. I had lots of friends and people reaching out. Thank you all so much for all the love and support. Also, we have a cool video that's going to be dropping later this week. Madison Street Tavern over in Tiffin, Ohio. Thanks so much for all the hot sauces you all sent us. Can't wait to try them, and we'll make sure to give you our review. But yeah, lots of good people sharing love and support for us. So thank you all so much. For this week, we have our fight breakdown for UFC 275. We got Glover Teixeira versus Jiri Prochazka. The old man versus the crazy wild young man.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Jiri is a dangerous man. He even looks dangerous, but you can't ever count out Glover Teixeira. It's bound to be a great fight, great matchup. Lots of other good names over it's in Singapore, so that's going to be great for the city of Singapore. And I'm excited to see some of these up and comers and some of these returners come back and gear up here. We're at the halfway mark for the year, so I felt like overall Dana's done a great job at a lot of these cards, making some really, really great matchups. I think this one's just goes to show again how we have another set of how many good fighters the UFC has and how many great matchups that
we have a
make out of this.
banger fight night card, banger free card coming up next week.
Yeah, man, I tell you what.
And we're getting into the summer. I mean, there's going to be International Fight Week, and there's going to be some good cards coming in the next few months.
Yeah, it's definitely it's been an exciting year for the UFC, and we're only halfway through it. So super pumped to see the rest of the year. And I kind of heard, and again, can't believe everything you hear on the internet, but I heard Dana said that Islam versus Oliveira. Ready for November and November.
I mean, that's
October.
the fight to make for Oliveira. That's the fight to make. I mean, there's all this noise about they want him to fight Beneil Dariush first, but Oliveira and Islam is the fight to make. That's what we all want to see. That's probably the two best guys in the division right now. If not, it's the best guy that Oliveira hasn't already beaten.
No, I'm curious. Do you know the rule? Like, does the belt get put back up for this one, or?
Yeah, so Dana decides what happens with that because they had the dumb thing with the broken scale last time.
Which Joe Rogan said that it was a faulty scale, so I believe.
Yeah. No, it was pretty clear that it was a messed up scale, and Oliveira ended up missing weight by half a pound, so he couldn't defend the belt. But yeah, I mean, he won the fight. It was half a pound. Dana said, yeah, whoever Oliveira fights next, Oliveira's fighting for the belt.
Yeah, well, it's definitely.
And he won't come in, I guess, technically as the defending champ because he didn't make weight last time.
Right.
Well, stupid, but he won the fight, so he's the defending champ in not just my mind, but probably pretty much everybody's.
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right. Well, the first fight of the night that we're going to break down, I like where this line's at because I'm super excited, and it's definitely a close fight against some two really great fighters. The first one we got is Andre Fiallo, 16-4, coming in as the favorite versus Jake Matthews, 17-5, coming as the plus 120 underdog. Go ahead, give me your first thoughts on this one, Andrew.
Yeah, this one's super fun. So I mean, the first thing to mention right off the top, this is Fiallo's third fight in like less than 2 months' time. So he had the knockout win against Miguel Baeza about 2 months ago, and just a few weeks ago had the knockout against Cameron Van Camp. So, dude's staying active. He's, you know, putting together like a Kevin Holland type of activity type year.
Yeah.
And he's got some steam behind him the way Kevin Holland did in, what was it, 2020 when he went 5-0. That's
Yep.
kind of what Fiallo's run. Their fighting styles aren't at all the same, really, but that's kind of what Fiallo's run reminds me of. Fiallo also has won, going back to his fights outside of the UFC, he's won 6 out of his last 7 fights, and all of those 6 wins are KO or TKO wins. He's got really, really good boxing, not great takedown defense, and while his striking is really good, he also can get hit on the feet. One stat that I actually came across that was really interesting is he is absorbing 6.75 shots per minute and giving out 4.23. So he's taking 2.5 shots per minute more than he's given out. And I mean, we've seen that. We've seen him get hit, and then he just finds that knockout blow. And, you know, I've been lucky enough. I've bet him by knockout in his last 2 fights and hit both of those bets, which is nice. But the way he's gotten those knockouts has been a little bit sketchy. Matthews, on the other hand, hasn't fought in over a year. He's got very good offensive wrestling. His grappling is a little suspect, but he does have submissions if he gets on top. He can strike. He mixes his striking well, going to the head, to the body. He also, though, leaves himself open to getting hit. He can get rocked. His gas tank is a little bit suspect. He has been in the UFC for a much longer time than Fiallo. He's 10-5 in the UFC. That being said, I mean, you got to give anybody respect who has 10 wins in the UFC. But if you look at the names of the guys on his wins, the large majority of them are not in the UFC anymore. And they're not all that big of names other than Diego Sanchez that he's beaten. And when he's come up against stiff competition, those are where a lot of his losses are. He lost to Kevin Lee. He lost to Sean Brady in his most recent fight. So you see Matthews beating a lot of fighters that I guess he should beat, and losing when he comes up against stiff competition most of the time, which makes it a really interesting test for Fiallo. All of that being said, I have a bet already in on just about every fight on this card, and this is one of like 2 fights where I haven't bet the money line yet. This one's messing with me because it's just a nerve-wracking spot. I don't know, you know, I've felt good about the Fiallo KO bet 2 times in a row now. I don't know that fighting for the 3rd time in a 2-month span, you know, making that weight cut, getting just mentally prepared to step into the octagon. Also, this is a big step up in competition fighting Matthews compared to the last couple of guys that he's fought. Matthews definitely can test his wrestling more, and he's just I don't know that he's necessarily a more skilled striker than Miguel Baeza, but he's definitely better all around, more well-rounded than Baeza is for sure, without a doubt, and has a significant amount more of UFC experience. So I think I may end up passing on this fight. I may end up looking at the under because both guys leave themselves open to getting hit. And I also think if Matthews gets control time, he can work towards a sub, and that's a possible way to get to the under also. That would be my lean, is to bet the under, but I think I'm probably just going to end up passing on the fight altogether.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm leaning heavy towards Fiallo here. I think, you know, he's had two quick finishes in his last two fights. I think he, you know, in terms of, yeah, he's fighting a lot over the last, you know, couple weeks. That I think, you know, in reality, he hasn't even really fought a near a full fight. So I do think he's
Right,
going to
he's
be.
knocking guys out in the first round.
So I do think I'm feeling really, really strongly about, you know, like you said, it's hard to say could he do it again, but you know, third time's the charm. Full send, let's ride it. You know, I do like the way that Jake Matthews fights. I think that he, you know, again, like you said, he's been in the UFC a long time. He's fought some good dudes, but I think Fiallo is the real deal. I think I think his striking is very, very good, and I think he has strong power, and I see him coming away with the win on this. I liked where the line's at on this one, so I'll probably be mixing it into some parlays because that'll be good to drive the other odds down. Especially there's some huge favorites on this card, so putting him in there would definitely help to bring down a couple of the huge favorites, which you always like if
Brendan
you can get,
Allen or
yeah,
something like that.
if you can always get a sneaky one like that you feel confident on, that's got low odds, and you throw that with a high odds person. I love being able to mash those up into some parlays, and I'll probably put a couple units on them just on the straight money line. Again, 145 right now is what I'm seeing. Not going to be a huge return, but it's still going to be better than like a minus 200 or a minus 180 or something like that, where you're having to bet a little bit more to get any type of return. So definitely excited to see it. I think you're right. I think, you know, it's going to come down to what's the gas tank like on Matthews, and can Fiallo apply the pressure and not take as much damage, because Jake's also a great fighter. So it's going to be definitely a great fight to watch. The outcome I'm seeing again is another knockout, but you know, the UFC, you never can tell.
Yeah, I like the confidence. I really like, especially because I've won money on him by KO 2 fights in a row recently. I want to be there with you, but I'm just not.
It's okay, say, but don't forget, scared money don't make money, buddy. Scared money don't make money.
I have bet like 10 out of 12 fights on this card, and I think more than half of those I've taken underdogs.
That's awesome.
I have no scared money on this card.
Gotta bet the dogs. Actually, that's funny you say something like that. There was this guy, Matty Betts, on TikTok. He did $100 during the March Madness. He bet 100 on every single underdog, and ended up.
You end up making money.
Yeah, a lot of money. I forget what the total was, but that it hit really big for him. So
yeah, I mean, all you need is a couple teams to make a run. Like
yeah, especially like St. Mary's. Yeah,
16,
like St. Mary's. Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, next up we got Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Oh my gosh! The last time we saw this fight, Joanna looked like Frankenstein.
Oh man, she looked like an alien. The hematoma she had on her forehead was crazy.
Oh my god,
but that was also, I mean, that one fight of the year for 2020.
Yep,
it's one of the greatest fights I've ever seen in my entire life.
Amazing. True heart of the champions by both of them.
I cannot, not to categorize things this way, but to categorize things this way, I cannot think of a women's fight that I've ever seen that's better than their first fight.
No. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch, and it was just an absolute brawl and bloodbath. So Weili comes in at 21-3, and Joanna comes in at 16-4. Weili is the favorite at minus 165, and Joanna is coming in at plus 140. In this women's strawweight matchup. Andrew, talk to me. What's your first thoughts on this one?
So the first thought on this fight is it is an absolute crime against fighting that this is a 3-round fight, not a 5-round fight. Yes. I get it. It's not a title fight. It's but they make exceptions all the time to make, this is a special. I mean, this is not even the co-main event.
The Nate Diaz card. The Nate Diaz.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, they'll make Nate Diaz fights 5 rounds. There are other examples too. It's a crime against fighting that we're not getting 5 rounds again. But anyway, so Joanna has not fought since their last fight, which was 2+ years ago. Um, so that's going to be interesting to see how she comes back. Is there going to be ring rust, or is there going to be just having rest and healed and come back looking like a champ? Um, she obviously is a really great striker, super, super technical, really good striking defense. She has great takedown defense. And she even has a little bit of her own takedowns that she's mixed in a couple of times in fights. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of grappling in this, but interestingly, Weili is also known as a striker with really, really good volume, but has started working on her takedowns more in her recent fights with Rose Namajunas. Not in the first one because she got knocked out real quick, but in the second one we saw a little bit of that. She's actually been training out at Fight Ready with Henry Cejudo to improve her wrestling and level up her game there. So what's going to be interesting to me in this fight is to see how the clinch grappling, if there are takedowns on either side, how that part plays out and how that might be different from the first time they fought. Or if we're just going to see an all-out striking war similar to the first one, which is kind of what I lean towards thinking that we're going to see. I mean, you try to get better at the areas that aren't your strength in MMA, but you fall back to what you're good at when you're getting into a firefight with somebody who's one of the best in the world, with which both of these women are. The first fight was so super, super, super close. I mean, if you look at MMA decisions on, I think it's just called MMAdecisions.com, they have like, I don't know what it is, 20 journalists or something that score every fight. And I think it was a split like 12-8 roughly for Weili, and the judges that count gave it to Weili last time, but it was one of those that was so close you really could have gone either way, and probably Joanna ending up looking like what she looked like did not help her. But that fight was so close. And I mean, like I mentioned, Joanna hasn't fought since then. Weili's lost to Rose Namajunas twice since then. I kind of think we're going to see another super, super, super close fight. And because of that, I got Joanna at plus 145 because I see this as pretty close to a pick'em fight. I think you could almost flip a coin, and I know a lot of the MMA community is on Weili, and everybody's talking about Joanna hasn't fought in 2 years. She's so good, I'm not sure that it matters. And so to me, if I'm looking at this as a coin flip and I can get plus 145, I'm on that all day, and I've already bet it.
Nice. I think you're right. I think both these women are a coin flip toss. But my gut feeling is going for Weili here. I think Weili, one, she's already shown against Joanna that she knows how to piece her up. And again, when we talk about, like you said, what it looks like at the end with the judges, they're going to look at damage. We just saw it kind of versus Chito Vera versus Rob Font. I definitely thought that Rob looked like he was putting out more volume, but Chito landed the more damaging shots, which, again, made Rob Font's face also look like a
beat up,
like a Frankenstein. The guy from like the guy from the Goonies. But I think the biggest thing, the angle that I would like to look at is the over here. I do think that this is going to go to a decision.
I don't hate that.
I think Weili is a good, and they're both good fighters, so they're definitely going to spend, I think, the first round feeling each other out. I think Joanna respects Weili. I think they know that both are dangerous, and they don't want to take damage. I mean, no one wants to get punched in the face. You know, no one's going to say, hey, I'm going to go in and just take a bunch of shots. No one wants to do that. So I do think they're going to take some time getting into this fight. I do think there is going to be a point in the first round in which some shots start firing, and I think they're going to start turning on. But I think I can see each round kind of starting slow and then picking up, which to me would say this is going to go all 3 rounds. Also, with it being 3 rounds, not 5 rounds, I do think it's looking very likely to be a decision. I mean, they've already went 5, so we know both gas tanks are there. So unless, again, this is the UFC, unless there is, like the Rose, a head kick or a big shot that just puts one of them to sleep. But these are 2 tough girls. They fought each other before. I know, right? This is Freya, everybody, by the way.
Creeping in the background.
Freya, say hi. There
Welcome to the Knockout Bets podcast.
Our special guest, Freya. There she is. What a good girl. I do think that these girls, both knowing that they've already went the distance and both knowing that they're both tough fighters, again, even if there's a big shot, I still think these 2 girls are tough as they come. I think they're going to stick it out the whole fight. So I think another angle to look at this is the over. But I do like Weili in this one. I'm going to take Weili. I'm going to die on that hill. I think Weili is just I think with Joanna being out for so long and Weili still being active, right? For so much,
you can definitely make that argument. Yeah, for
that
sure.
Weili's prepped and ready for this. And again, I think Joanna probably had to take off a little bit of time because of the damage that she took, but I'm not other sure why it was so long in between. So I do think that is going to play a factor. But I do see this thing going all 3 rounds, and I see Weili winning by decision on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the over 2.5, or even just fight goes to decision is a solid bet. I mean, you're getting pretty negative odds on that, so you're probably going to want to parlay it with something else. I mean, I'm looking here. So like the over 2.5, the best line that I see right now is -260. And best line I see on goes to decision is -220. So, for you and me anyway, the way that we both bet, we would want to parlay that with something else.
Yep.
But it does seem like even at that number, like goes to the decision at -220, even if you were to bet that by itself, it's not a bad bet at that number, I don't think. I mean, I think that number could be closer to like -400. So it does seem like a good number to hit, even at, lower than 2-1 odds.
Well, you brought that's a nice little segment to our next fight, because I have a little over-under parlay that I'm working on, and that's because I'm loving the under in this next fight. We have Valentina Shevchenko.
It's interesting because I like the under in the last one.
We got Valentina Shevchenko versus Taila Santos. Valentina's coming in at 22-3, impressive record, huge underdog or huge favorite at -625 versus Taila Santos, who's 19-1, coming in at +450. And I am liking the under this one. But go ahead, give me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so there's a lot of chatter out there on Twitter and this place, that place, the other place, that Taila Santos is going to be the biggest test for Valentina in a while. It's not necessarily wrong, and I'm just going to give my pick away right away. She's -700. She's -700 for a reason, and even that -700 is giving a little bit of respect to Taila Santos, because we see a lot of Valentina Shevchenko lines like -1,000, -1,300, even wider than the -700 that this one is around right now. Valentina has 6 title defenses. She's one of the best of all time in any weight class, male or female. Just head and shoulders above the competition, has been so dominant since the 125 women's division started. Her kickboxing is incredible. Her movement is phenomenal. She's added takedowns to her game. She's just, I mean, there's not much more to say than she's one of the best there is. Um, Talia Santos, though, on the other hand, she also is well-rounded. She strikes well. She's got solid offensive wrestling. She's big for the division. I mean, we saw Jennifer Maia take down and hold down Valentina for a round and win a round. I think it's definitely possible for Talia Santos to do the same thing. On the feet, she's very powerful. She's a little bit flat-footed, but she does strike well. The biggest thing to me with Talia Santos is she's getting a title shot at this point in time pretty much the way I look at it, kind of because Valentina's cleared out the division. So it's like, who's the next person that Valentina hasn't fought yet, who's, you know, coming up and has strung together a few wins. And Talia Santos wins to me aren't all that impressive. I mean, she has some big names on there. Um, so she's beaten Molly McCann and Jillian Robertson and Roxanne Modafferi and Joanne Wood. We've seen Jillian Robertson have good performances and bad performances. Same thing with Molly McCann. When she fought Roxanne Modafferi, she was getting older. And same thing with Joanne Wood. And if that's your one kind of top 10 win against Joanne Wood and now you're getting a title shot, it seems like she's getting it because Valentina's cleared everything out. And it's not to say she can't give her a test more than some of Valentina's recent fights, but I have already parlayed Valentina's money line, and I parlayed that with Manel Kopp for anybody who's curious. And I think I put about 1.5 units on that parlay of those two together way earlier in the week and beat a tiny bit of a line movement. But I mean, you know, Jessica Andrade is a really impressive recent win for Valentina, but then you go back through them and, you know, she's kind of cleared out the division just one by one. And this is going to be a little bit more of a test than the recent fights. And so I think that's what makes, other than Jessica Andrade, and Jessica Andrade is small for 125. She really belongs at 115. So I think it is going to be an interesting test. I think there is a possibility that she loses a round, but I think this is Valentina's fight to win all day, whether she wins it going the distance or whether she wins inside the distance, which is I'm considering putting an inside the distance bet on Valentina.
Yeah, and I love that bet, and I do love a finish. I mean, we look at a fighter who 22 wins, she has 15 finishes, man. She is a dangerous human being. Like you said, she's cleared out the division, and now we're fighting pretty big up-and-comers. But, again, I think Talia, with the full respect to her and what she's done in the UFC in her career, I just think Valentina is just a dangerous woman. Mama, that woman dangerous. All right? She is, like you said, she is so well-rounded from the striking to the grappling. She's become better every fight. You know, she's not on that like, oh, she's kind of getting past her time. She's evolving every fight, and every time she fights, it's always for a title. So she has that experience. I think this will be a good fight for Santos to get back in there because Valentina Shevchenko, you have to admit, probably eventually is going to retire and be out of there. You know, at some point she's done so much in that division. But I think Valentina still has a lot left, and I think this is just going to be another notch on her bet. I do like the under for this one. I do like a Shevchenko finish. I'm all over Shevchenko on this one. I'm the same with you. I've parlayed her with Kopp. I also parlayed her.
We
with
did not
Allen.
talk about that one before the show, by the way. For the public, I like that we put that same one together
with Allen, and there was another huge favorite on there that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a 4-teamer, and I'm super happy about that one. And I like being able to parlay. I feel comfortable parlaying Valentina in my bets this weekend, because I think she's going to get the job done. It's just going to be another win for her.
I agree. We're on the same page.
Awesome, man. All right, our last fight of the night, we're rocking with Glover, the main event. Glover Teixeira, 33-7. What a record. Versus Jiri Prochazka, coming in at 28-3-1. Jiri's coming at a huge favorite, -200 against Glover, the champion, +170. Andrew, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I am having a tough time making a pick for this one. But when you're having a tough time making a pick and you're getting +170, I have not bet Glover yet, but I'm trying to talk myself into it or figure out how to creatively do it. So Glover, at this point in his career, is a phenomenal grappler who can also strike decently well. He definitely has power in the hands, even if his striking is not mixed well or creative or anything like that. He can also take shots, even at 42 years old. I mean, we saw Jan Blachowicz light him up a couple of times and didn't take him out. And when you're getting hit with the Polish power and not going out, that's impressive. So, yeah, I mean, if he gets you on the ground too, he's really good with his control on the ground, his ground and pound, his working for submissions is elite in the light heavyweight division, still at 42 years old. Jiri, what's really interesting about him, this is only his third fight in the UFC, and he's getting a title shot off of 2 wins. And yes, they're very good wins. He beat Volkan Ozdemir and he beat Dom Reyes and he knocked both of them out. He also got cracked by both of them too, which is definitely something to worry about if you're thinking about betting the Jiri side. He actually, this was interesting to me in my research for this. He also, similar to Wei Li, has trained at Fight Ready with Henry Cejudo for this fight, training his wrestling because he knows that Glover's going to want to grapple with him and use that BJJ. Jiri, though, historically does not have great takedown defense. I'm having a tough time, like I said, making a pick with this one, but I do think, in a lot of things, violence is not the answer, but violence is the answer in this fight. I do see the over-under is set at 3.5, but I actually found an alternate over-under at 2.5, and I bet the under 2.5 at -170, and I love it. I think we could see either one of them knock the other guy out. Probably more likely that Jiri gets the knockout than Glover does, but Jiri is definitely hittable. Both guys are hittable. And of course, if Glover can get it to the ground, Glover by sub is a definite possibility. So all I've bet so far is that under, and I'm trying to get a creative way to bet, like the money line or some props. I think one possibility would be to bet something like Glover inside the distance, which you're going to get pretty high plus odds on, and then also hedge that with like Jiri by KO in round 1 and also bet Jiri by KO in round 2. And probably give yourself a decent chance of hitting one of those 3 bets. And if you can make the math all work to guarantee yourself some money, that might be one way I go, but that's where I am with this one.
Well, I am rocking with Glover all day, baby. This is going to be a swan song.
I like it. Talk me into it, because I want to bet Glover.
This has storyline written all over it. This man is going to go out. He's going to beat the young blood. He is going to retire, and he is going to ride off into the sunset. And Jiri will be back.
You think he retires on a win?
Yep, he does, 100%. He already kind of talked about it. He's talked about it. He said he's actually even made the comment, and you can fact check me on this one, that he knows he has one more fight in him, and he wants to end it on a win. So I think that this has, again, UFC storyline all over it. Jiri will be back fighting for that title shot. Don't get me wrong. It's just not going to be his title yet. I do think he's a dangerous man, but here's what's going to happen. Glover's going to take a shot. He's going to then shoot on to Jiri. He's going to take him down, and he's going to close the deal, and he's going to get his hand raised. I'm 100% for sure on this one. I love it. I love when I can get an underdog that I like. I thought the line was going to be a little closer just because of the unknownness with Jiri, and because again, this is only his third fight. But with such a big underdog, I mean, I'm seeing plus 170. I love that. Definitely going to be sprinkling a couple units on that. I already have Glover closing out that all favorites parlay with Glover on the back end on that. So I'm loving that. I'm hoping I can get to the last fight with a couple big units still in the line, and then I can raise my hand with Glover on the way out.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, and I mean, we talk about Jiri. It's only his third fight in the UFC. He beat a lot of impressive guys outside of the UFC. So he's 28-3. He beat King Mo.
He deserves the title shot.
Bruno Capoloza. He's beaten some guys.
He deserves the title shot. He's electric. He's awesome. He's a good dude. I love everything about him.
He beat Nemkov,
yeah,
who's the rage in Bellator now. I mean, he's got some good wins.
Yeah, I just think that Glover is going to rely on experience, and he knows what he knows, and he knows how to win a fight, and he's going to go out a champion.
I like it. I like it. And I'm going to try to convince myself to get there with you because I want to see that storyline and I want to be on that side of betting it. And yeah, I mean, just the experience and the holes in Jiri's game, it feels like he's too big of a favorite on the money line to me.
Awesome.
So I might talk myself into it. But yeah, anyway, before we run out of time, let's do some lottery tickets and knockout bets.
Yeah, my knockout bet is Andre Fialho. I'm going I'm jumping on the train, and I'm hoping he's gonna come 3 for 3. I think he's gonna get it done, and I think kind of like you said last week, someone's gonna finish. So I think it's gonna be Andre that's going to finish Matthew. So I'm going with Andre Fialho for my knockout of the week.
I like it. That would go 3 in a row. I'm having a tough time finding one. I'm going to go with, and this one doesn't feel great to me, and I'm probably not going to bet it, but just looking at the card in front of me, the one that looks the best to me is Valentina Shevchenko by knockout.
I like that one.
That could be ground and pound TKO. It could be a head kick. It could be all sorts of different things.
All right, and my lottery ticket this week is Shevchenko, Kopp, Sang-Woo Choi, and Brendan Allen. That's 31 to win 68, a little 4-teamer parlay there.
Okay, so that's like plus 200 roughly.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to list off the underdogs that I've already bet. And something of this would be what I would throw together for a crazy lottery ticket. But I have Pascual, I have Na, I have Kang, all underdogs, first 3 fights of the night. Working the way on up here, let's see. Also Joanna, and especially if I'm going, lottery ticket, Glover's got to be in it. Got to be Glover, and probably not just Glover's money line, probably Glover inside the distance where you're getting even a little bit more meat on the bone there.
Very cool. All right, awesome. Well, that's all the time we got. Thanks so much for checking us out. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, keep the change.
Keep the change.